Where's my thing going? So I put this together, and I think it was only about 15 minutes, so we'll see how it goes. So, you want to go to a conference, you have to create an abstract. Right? In fact, you have to create an abstract, you have to look at biography, and the biography has to demonstrate that you are the right person to give that talk. Right? You know, if you want to do a talk about animals and you say, I hate cats in your bio, then that might not be the right thing. So there is that connection. But your abstract is this thing where you have this really great idea, right? And you go, hey, I'm going to go talk, right? And then what happens? You fail at the first hurdle, right? Because you're going, well, why do I want to present in the first place? What is my motivation for being there, right? Sometimes it's an ego trip. I want to stand up and say, I talk to Devoxx UK, right? Or whatever, okay? But it's like, well, what are you trying to tell people? What will they learn from your talk? That's got to be in your head before you even start anything. What's the outcome I want to achieve? What is it I want my audience should be better informed when they leave, or more inspired. Okay. Right.
So quick question before I write all of this down.
Yeah.
Are you sharing the slides?
Actually, I think these are online, but I can share them with them.
Right, okay, that's worked on that.
Yeah, right. Okay, so prepare a research plan. Why are you trying to go to? Why do you want to do this in the first place? Okay, go have a look and see what the conference is about. There is quite surprisingly times when people will submit to a conference and the conference does have nothing to do with the talk. And I've got away with that once or twice, where I've submitted really jokey abstracts to a conference and then realised afterwards that it was a very serious conference, but they accepted it anyway. Okay, but that was because I didn't think about it. Why are people going to the conference that you want to go to? Why do people go to Devoxx Belgium? What are they trying to get out of it? Right? And the weird thing is, and I've noticed this a lot, is that people who you go to a conference and you know why you're going, but as soon as you go to speak, you forget what your audience is there for. Right? So it's like you've got to remember that. Okay. Find out how long you want to present. Really good one. Right, and a really good example is a conference in Boston that I would have been accepted to, and I couldn't make it, and then I realised that it was pretty good because it was only a 20-minute slot. I wasn't going to fly to Boston to do a 20-minute talk. That was just bonkers, and I can't imagine doing a talk in 20 minutes. Okay, okay, right, okay. So you've got some background, what the audience is about, what the conference is for, how long you've got to speak, why you want to speak. Right, and then you're now going to talk about, well, what style? So this bit is these are my words, and I've got another slide, but there are some basic structures around the talk that you're going to give, okay, which will help you decide what you're going to do. So let's go through them. So the A versus B one, this is the straightforward one, right? I had to make a decision between using. You're allowed to read these. Make a decision between using A versus B. Right? You're trying to get people up the learning curve. They come to the conference. They want to leave a bit more informed. So I'm going to do. I had a problem, and we had to choose between Maven and Ant. Here was our situation. Here's where we chose Maven. Here's where we chose Ant. If I tell you that, you can then say I was in the same position. You chose Maven. That sounds like me. Thank you very much. Okay. Cool. Unrelated but cool, that's the Mind the Geek stuff. That's the, hey, we're software engineers or developers for the fun bit. We write code for money because that's to pay our passion. Go off and talk about your passion. Yeah. Just have a CPU in there somewhere. Case study. Similar to A versus B, but that's much more specific. My company had a challenge, like finding diamonds. Right? And here's how it went. Here's what we learned. Technology, process, people. Again, what you're trying to do is explain to people your scenario so that they will understand. They go, that was me. Well, that was not quite me. I'll come and talk to you about it. What about this? Okay. The introspection, that's all the how do we do stuff. People really want to hear that. We use Agile, we use Scrums, we use Spotify models, whatever. It worked for us or it didn't work for us. You know, people want to know that piece, right? Extreme programming. Oh, we don't do pair programming because it sucks for these reasons. Oh, we do pair programming because it's fantastic for these reasons. People want your experiences in how you do your job. Emerging tech, pretty much the shiny stuff. Here's how I use something. Here's how I use TensorFlow on JavaScript to find emojis, right? How it's going to change your life. And it doesn't have to be just tech, it can be processes. So when Agile came out, there was a whole rush to, whoa, Agile's going to change your world. So there were a whole bunch of papers about what it meant, how it worked, okay? DevOps and things like that, okay? Technology choices, like, well, emerging technology, do I choose, how do I use Jakarta EE versus MicroProfile? What about Spring? Right, and they're not enormous, they're not what I can say the most emerging technologies, most of them are a bit more exciting than that. But that, people want you to explain to them what this stuff is, where it fits in the space, what are the cool things you can do. Right? Then there's the boring talk, right? I do say, I get bored with these ones, but it's the, hey, here's what's in version 1.2, here's what's new from 1.1. If there are talks that have to happen, and to be honest, there are talks that you can do. You don't have to be the owner of the tech. You can see many places where people do talks about what's new in Java 10. Okay? But the point is, it's a talk about a version update, and that's a reasonable thing to do. I just think personally. Okay? And you can see whether you do deep dives or whatever, but that's a start of talk. I'm telling you what's new. Okay? And then just for fun, again, it's in the Mind the Geek stuff. This one is much more about way past your ability. So this is, so I've had the option of being able to do some of these things where we're going, hey, we've got 10,000 quid's worth of kit, here's what you can do with it. Wouldn't it be fun if you could do the same, right? And we'll just, again, tell you all this cool stuff, and if this is the one that you leave dribbling and going, this is why I'm broke, because I need to go buy that thing now, right? But you can see they're all different, but they've all got basically, there's a good reason for each of these sorts of structures. And this is, you can cut the talks all the way, but this is how I cut it when I'm thinking about what am I trying to do. So, the submission process. So you've got a talk, you understand why you're doing it, you understand what the conference attendees are looking for it, you're all in the groove, and then you need to go read how the submission process works, right? There are all sorts of things, but these are probably the most common ones. Well, a title and abstract, of course. Abstracts can be quite, the space that you can put in the abstract varies. I don't know what's Devoxx?
2,000 characters.
2,000 characters. Some conferences will ask for a lot less than that.
But that's the maximum.
The maximum.
Yeah, maximum. And just Steve, a lot of attendees, they select the talk purely on the title.
Yeah.
Now the program committee does not select your talk on the title.
Yeah.
But once you get accepted and you're scheduled, they're all interested in that. So the title is really important.
Yeah. I mean it's a good point. I think I mentioned later, but you know it because if you've been to a conference, you've done the same thing. You've started. You're either the person who's booked your list of things you're going to go see. You've got your agenda sorted out, or like me, you're going, oh, what's on next? Oh, that room's full. Oh, there's 2 left. Oh, that sounds interesting. And it's like 2 seconds on the title to make you then read the abstract, and a few seconds on that. Yeah, I'll do. Right. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people do.
And another thing we've added is that people can favorite talks because you can create your own schedule. And we've actually shown, or now showing, the number of hearts, the number of favorites a talk have.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you just look at which talks are popular based on favorites, you might go to that one because it's popular. But that's also another dimension, which of course you don't control, but it is interesting to see that.
Yeah.
As an organizer, it's great to see, because then you immediately see like what is popular from an attendee point of view as well.
So do you look for for polished, or do you look for potential? In as much as like, if I suck at writing I guess if I suck at writing a title, I suck at writing a talk as well, probably, right? But if there was a title that you thought could be improved,
Yes.
so you sort of...
So like even this morning there were multiple talks who, not on the title, well there was one, so 2 days ago we did the golden tickets, and there was one person from the golden ticket saying this guy had a typo in his title. He said,
Right.
can you please adjust that? And that's already like, okay, that's a beginner fault, right? Having a typo in the title.
Yeah.
Another one which we often see is that the abstract is shorter than the message to the program committee. So the program committee information is really long, and then the abstract is only 2 sentences. And then so there were 3 talks this morning, which the program committee came back to the speaker, say like, hey, you should think about copying some of your internal message to your abstract, because then it gives you a bit more body to your presentation.
Yeah, but that's probably because people don't realize that in the end the audience only sees the one message and not the combination of the two, so you have to duplicate information.
True, yes. Yeah.
So you've got your title abstract. You need to obviously read about what the tracks are that you're submitting it to, because conferences have different rules. Some will be happy to move them around. Others will go, no, if you submit our track and it's wrong, we don't know how to talk you out. But you need to look at the tracks and go, which one does it fit? You're doing your research.
Steve, again, an interruption. So the track is the content tracks, right? So, but then what is missing on the slide is what session you're submitting it to. Are you submitting it as a quickie, or a conference, or a deep dive?
Yeah.
What speakers tend to do, if they really want to get accepted, they say like, they submit it as a conference, and then in the message to the program committee say, oh, by the way, this could also be a deep dive, so I could like talk 3 hours about this subject. Or if you really don't, want this, I could turn it into a tools in action, which is a 30-minute talk. So they are already in the personal message saying that they're flexible and they can go either way.
Does the content committee use that information?
Oh yeah, we really look
Is
at
that good or bad?
For us, it's good actually sometimes, but the problem is you've submitted it to a specific session type and a track, so you will be evaluated, because in the sorting it's not included that you said, it could also be a deep dive or another one.
Right, so just, would you then submit it twice, for example? Or
Some conferences say do that.
Yes. You can only, for Belgium, because we want to limit the number of proposals, you can only submit 5 proposals. So if you only have one subject, we definitely, then submit it 3 times, one for a quickie, tools in action, and conference, and that's it. I think that's a good one.
Okay.
But some have so many subjects that they say, no, I want to use my 5 proposals for 5 different subjects. So you need to balance that.
Yeah. I need more than 5.
That's why we limit it to 5. Because some speakers think, I'll submit 20, so I will increase my chances to get selected.
Okay. So I missed out the title talk. The outline, so let's see what committees will see. This is you explain. They'll want more detail, because sometimes, quite often you'll see an abstract and you'll go, I have no idea what that's about. It's some really warm thing, and you go, what is it? So that outline will give the selection committee more confidence. But as you said, sometimes you go, well, unless you put some of that more real data, real information into the abstract, nobody's ever going to come to you, because we don't know what it's about. And you know, but you aren't communicating.
Could you give an example of the difference between an outline and an abstract? It's a very simple way
an abstract is what you read on the website. An outline, or whatever so sometimes the outline is, can you tell us slide by slide what you're going to talk about?
So it's a private message to the program committee. That's the outline.
Yeah.
So it's an internal message why the program committee should select your talk, or you give more information, like how it's structured, etc.
Yeah, you might go, I'm going to do 27 demos on this and this and this, and then we'll go, no, I don't think so. You'll be communicating to the selection committee more about what you intend to do, why you're doing it, relevant information to flesh out the abstract. Right? So that may be because you can't get all that into the abstract, so you don't bother. Your abstract is, and we'll talk about that as I say. What else? So videos of previous public speaking, what you're doing now, which is really, really important. Photo biography, so photos of you are important, preferably in some active pose. They like active photos. rather than passport photos. And a biography, as I said, the biography is the thing that makes you real to them, but also explains why you're the right person for this talk. Right?
So then do you have a biography per talk, you might give?
No.
Because that's kind of what I hear.
It depends what conference I go
Well,
to.
yeah, like for Belgium, you create an account.
Yeah.
In that account, you can have your bio, a picture, or we take your avatar via your email, the company, speaker qualifications, that type of stuff. And for every talk you submit, your account is linked to
You
that.
get one for the conference, but there's nothing wrong with changing it per conference to suit.
Absolutely.
Right, so your submissions, you need to be entertaining, inspirational, informative, insightful, authentic and honest. Tick. Right? The more excitement you can get into your abstract, the better. Right? But people want you to be, it is an entertainment, people want to come and watch you. So if you are able to communicate that you're going to be entertaining and you've got these things, that's really good. Right? People don't want abstracts to go, well, you sometimes you read abstracts and you go, that's going to be just boring. Right? I think we mentioned that. Right. So then you write works.
Can we go back to the previous one? Because it says blogs. How important
Ah.
are blogs? Like,
So for Belgium, again, you can include in your bio a blog. Now, the blog for us is interesting to know if you like, for example, if you're a book author on a specific subject, that's already top marks if you have a blog linked to that book. Because a lot of people, they write first a blog, and based on that blog, they write the book. Because they get... but if you see that your blog is really technical and you do some code examples or you have GitHub links, you go like, wow, he's really an expert, that really helps. A blog could also just be your GitHub account where you just show how active you are on GitHub, right?
That's better for me because I really don't like writing blogs.
Yeah. So it's basically showing your credentials on the subject that you're not stupid.
Okay.
Right, to be
If you are new to a conference, if they don't know you, then you're going to get Googled. Right, who is this person? Okay, I've read his abstract, I've read his biography. Okay, I'll go Google. Can I find him? What videos can I find? I do that for the ones for Devoxx UK and others. It's like, well, I have no idea who this person is. So I watch the video, and then I go, well, what else can I find out about you? How much have you got a digital presence? So, for instance, there's somebody I know who submitted a talk, and his bio was saying regular conference presenter and stuff like that, and I went Googling and went, can't find any evidence. Right? So that's not a good position. Yeah.
Or other things which is a bit unfair, but like Twitter followers.
Yeah.
I know it's unfair, but if a person submits and he has like 20,000 followers and he tweets on that subject, that's as good as your blog, basically.
Yeah.
Because go like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
he's an authority,
Yeah.
he or she.
Yeah. So that's what there's a segue there. So the authority. So we're looking for people who can demonstrate to be the best person for the talk. But that can always be you if the talk that you do comes from your experience.
Yeah.
Right? So if you go, I'm going to do a talk about what's coming up in Java 11, and nobody knows who you are, that's going to fail compared to somebody. Right?
Well, more Cradle too.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
But if you're talking about, hey, how to filter diamonds, or like with your Lego, and you have a unique angle, that makes you, again,
Or
the
if you
authority.
give a talk on first impressions of Java 11. I've tried it, and this is my experience with it. Okay, that's one of those experience things. That works, right? That's not you overselling yourself. Yeah. Right. So we've done all that, and then you have to write some words. Yeah. And I'm charitable and reckon that you'll get 20 seconds. People will read your abstract. I think they'll actually spend less than that. Your title, I mean. But it needs to be punchy.
Again, Steve, to compliment you there, is that the attendees, they know already that the sessions have been going through a process of evaluation.
Yes.
So a lot of them, like for Belgium, we've already sold more than 1,000 tickets, and we have not announced a single talk, a single speaker, because people know it's going to be a good event. We have so many proposals, and we get the best speakers, right? So if they look at the talk, they already know that he or she has been screened, and if the title really affects me, then it's going to be probably a good talk.
But
that's always the problem. You have like 300 sessions to choose from. So those people reading all the abstracts, I don't know many of them.
But that's why you need 120 people
Yeah.
to review them. You
Yeah, no. But if
As
you're
an
an
attendee.
attendee at the
Yeah.
conference,
Yeah.
and then the first day you get this booklet with like the 300
Yeah.
abstracts, and nobody takes the time to read all of them.
No.
So your challenge is to come up with a title that will get people to read your abstract. Right? Your title is the first level of advertising to make people go, oh, okay, I'll read a bit more. That's good for. Yes, the selection committee want to see it gets to them as well, but when it gets down to actually people coming to listen, the first thing is, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know. I'll go read the abstract.
Talking about the title, how acceptable is it to have like foul language in it? Like, like it said, the session as a title, I thought I removed the slide because we were recording, but I thought the noble art of fucking around. That would be too cruel. Or
And the thing is, I'm okay, I'm very progressive,
Yeah.
but the problem is that it is an international audience, it is recorded, you just don't want to go there.
Yeah, and you there's always one or two of those that come through, and they always come across as bitter and twisted. You know, even if you're doing it funny, it always comes across as bitter and twisted.
And over the years, we even had to enforce or introduce a code of conduct. So there is a code of conduct also on the talks where you just need to be, civilized.
Right, so what have I got? Some do's and don'ts. So some of these are mine, some other people's ideas. Avoid waffle.
What do you mean with waffle?
Waffle.
Belgian waffles.
Avoid Belgian waffles, is that it?
No, your audience.
Yeah, no, your audience.
You're in Brussels now.
Yeah, okay. Avoid cheesecake. No,
Using 100 words when you could use 10.
not being precise.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
Wow, I've
I
learned
didn't
something.
actually realise that wasn't understood. I really,
No, I
it's a
didn't know
joke
that word.
waffles.
Waffle?
Well, you did know the word, but not in this context.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Waffle? No.
No, I have no idea. I eat them, but that's
Yeah, I thought it was just a joke because it's a big thing in Belgium. But
If someone talks a lot, you say they waffle
Okay,
on.
let's move on.
Waffle
Right,
on.
so some good things like get somebody to read it, especially if you're not an English speaker. If it's not native English, then get somebody to read it. But actually, if you're a native Englishman, get somebody to read it and proof it, because it's really important to get that right. We all make spelling mistakes, but you also get grammar sort of stuff. Demonstrate clear learning outcomes or takeaways. Right? When it's in the abstract, you're trying to tell people what they're going to learn. So put that there. Use those sorts of active words: learn, understand, see, hear. Okay. Add loads of technical details for the panel section, right? So you want people to read your title and go, cool, that's interesting. Read the abstract, go, oh, okay, I want to go to that talk, right? On the basis that Stefan says that we're assuming that it's a good talk.
Yeah. However, we are getting immune to the persons who are trying to put as many buzzwords as possible in the title, because we go we have internal discussions as well. So in the proposal we have a discussion with the speaker if needed, and an internal discussion, and then internally go man, he's really trying to get all the buzzwords in his title just to get selected. And then it's just the opposite effect for us, because we go no.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about that? What's the buzzword this year?
Blockchain.
What I normally do, I do a tag cloud once all the proposals are in, and I use Google Entity, NLP, Natural Language Processing, to actually get it out of the real system. So I can tell you afterwards.
Okay, I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, there's not just buzzwords. There's particular structures of titles like the good, the bad, and the ugly, and things like that you get. They come into vogue, and you people saying blah 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 done right, and all these sorts of things. And it's it works for a year, and then it's old. But it's just fashion. You just have to be conscious of that. Clear takeaways. You can see how these are written, and it's not that you have to copy it, but it's that sense of what are you going to get out of it, because that's okay. And these sorts of things, tips for Java EE 7 use, 50 tips in 15 minutes. Those sorts of things. It's all that active thing. There's a sense of urgency, there's a sense of presence, there's a sense of you're going to learn something. Okay.
Steve, just on the 50 tips, that reminds me immediately of Simon Ritter's talks.
Yeah.
The only downside of that is that if you have like 50 tips, it's going to be really like really
Yeah.
listing all the subjects in 50 minutes, and some
Yes.
you either hate or love those type of
Yes,
talks as
yes.
well, right? But
Yeah. So the only one I do occasionally is the testing, 10 testing things with.
10 is okay, but
Yeah,
like
10 is
50
okay,
and
but
50
even
minutes,
so,
that's
you're
like a
quite
minute
right.
or so. It's like
So it is interesting, again, another segue. What you write here could easily constrain your presentation. You may suddenly,
yeah.
So
I
suddenly,
expect 50.
yeah.
No, but from a timing perspective,
Uh,
if you don't list that it's 50, you just stop after 47 and everyone thinks that's your presentation. You're done.
So we've got here.
49, not quite long.
Well, what can we say? Do's. Use tags, if they give you that option, because people want to, fix that. We said about positive words. We said about getting that grabbiness in it. Using all the characters in your abstract. You don't have to force them in, but for sure don't undersell yourself. If you've got 500, then try and use 500. Don't go, I'll put it in 100. What do you talk about? Docker. I mean, you'd be surprised at some of the abstracts that we see, because Graham and I manage some of the stuff that goes out from IBM to conferences, and you go, you can't submit that. It doesn't say anything. Yeah? Okay. But this is really important. What's in it for them? Keep that in your head. What are you telling them? Right? You get that. Don't use sexual references or inappropriate offensive language. Okay. Yes. Using, well, you can read that one. Mix the technical pitch for the session with the pitch for the presenter. What that means is, don't put your abstract the abstract shouldn't be about you. Right? To come to this talk because I'm the best person ever. It's like, no, we don't care about you, we'll read that from the Bible. Okay? Don't ever do a product pitch. Ever do a product pitch. So if you've got one that said, I don't know, okay, if I do 10 things you need to know about IBM Cloud, is that going to get you through?
It's definitely going to be debated. The problem is as well that we don't only have IBM, but we have Google, Amazon, and Microsoft, and so if you do it for IBM, you have to do it for the other ones as well. So that puts us in a tough spot. So often what we'll then do is say, like, maybe we do a deep dive and we get the other 3 companies involved as well, and then you can compare it, for example. But we definitely add, sometimes an abstracts, internally we say, okay, product pitch. So 2 words, product, and everybody just ignores that talk, because they feel, okay, it's going to just, be a marketing talk.
How could you not use Ninja and Pyro satirically?
You would be
How else
surprised.
could it be used?
You would be surprised.
It could be a nickname.
The thing is, it's a fashion thing. What is it? It's all sort of saying to you, keep track, of what the fashion is, because it's like dad jokes. It's like most of the time it's not going to work, and I know.
My kids love my dad joke.
Yeah. But they don't
How about
like
the day after?
They're probably not yet teenagers then.
what else? And again, this is sort of like, having said try and use everything, don't put too much in. Don'ts. Live code something too complicated. So this was Dan with this as well. Demos. Live code stuff. Lots of things you can do wrong with live code, like forget, it doesn't work, the font's too small, you're at the bottom of the page, it doesn't work. There's so many things. And if you do more than one, you start to get into tiger territory. You start to get things. I did one, I had 6 live demos, and after demo 4 I'd forgotten what I was doing. Right? And I'm going, I already did all my notes, I'm going, so I just managed to finesse it. But you can't, this is high wire stuff, so only do it if you're really certain it's necessary, and it's the only way to get that. It does definitely give some liveness to your demonstration and to your pitch, but you will be careful about it. And it's also the same as when you put code up in your presentations. right? Remember that the people who are reading the code are over there, and so you see people who put whole pages of code up. You know, it's the same with live coding. You put whole pages of code up, and you go, I'm just going to change this and this, and you go, you didn't give me time to ingest what the code's going to do. Right? So it's really hard to do that. So if you're going to do it, one or two, move it forward, don't put loads in, because you just confuse people. But anyway, that's basically saying be careful when you talk about you're going to do some live code demos. Right? Everybody likes to see them, but everybody knows how dangerous it can be. Right, this is the last one. The thing is, people forget that you're making a promise. You're making a promise to the selection committee, and you're making a promise to your audience about what you're going to tell them. Right? You've written down a title, you've written down an abstract, and it all gives this advert, this promise of what you're going to do. Right? You need to satisfy that promise. Right? You can write your abstracts so it's a bit flexible, but you can't say, hey, I'm going to do a demonstration about, I don't know, NoSQL, and then can turn up and talk about Microsoft SQL, right? You can't, you have to deliver on your promise, so be careful when you write the abstract about what you're committing to. If it's too fluffy, people will take you. If it's too specific, it might bite you when you try to actually do the real thing. But it's your promise right there. And that was the end of that bit.
Just whilst we're on abstracts, one thing I've found useful if I'm stuck for inspiration or I've written an abstract and I'm still not happy with it, I find Googling around and reading other abstracts is a great way. I read them and I think if I like that one and I like that particular style, then readjusting mine into that kind of style is useful.
I like to try and find sound bites. It's, you know, you just have some off-the-wall conversation with somebody, and the next thing you know, so be silly about it, and then suddenly you might get some inspiration about, you know, a sound bite, and then you can build from that. You know, because it's always good to take, to do parodies from movies and things, because people get that. Mind you, I always end up doing Star Wars talks when I do that, I don't know why. It's got some pictures of Star Wars in it, you know, a long time ago in a galaxy far away.
Yeah, or Dr. Robot, you know,
Yeah.
get his face in your slide deck,
Yeah.
get a theme in there. That's always a fun one. You know, just challenge yourself a bit by introducing some kind of red line or something.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, there's an art in getting your abstract to the point where people will just go, I really want to go see to that. Partly it's just getting into the flow of it. As Graham says, if you look up the people's, you'll see, go find ones, go read ones, you go, I'll go to that talk and then use it as a basis for the sorts of things you're doing. You know, once you get your style, because it's all personal style. You know, I don't have a problem generally writing abstracts now because I've written so many that I'm going, that's my style, I've got a story, okay, and I find some way of doing it. And I try to have abstracts that give me wiggle room on the day. Right? Because especially if I say, hey, we'll do a demo, well, you know, I like to have the opportunity to say, maybe I'll do a demo. Yeah. Okay. You got anything else you want to add?
Well, I was interested in what you were saying from picture's point of view.
Yeah, I have a few things that I can still show. If we have time, I don't know, it's already 8:30, so if we have time, I'll show you a few things.
Just